Hey everybody, Tim Hewer here from the Windows team. I'm very excited to be a part of this Visual Studio 2012 launch. And I'm here to talk to you today about building Windows XAML applications for the Windows Store and give you a glimpse of some demonstrations on how easy it is to accomplish that. So let's get started right away. Now, I have Visual Studio installed on my machine, so let's go ahead and get started right away. I'm going to launch Visual Studio and I'm going to create a new project. Now the first thing that I want to point you to is that we have several templates to choose from. Some are blank, which we'll be using in this one to start from scratch, but I encourage you to look at these other two richer templates which have more full-featured implementations of specific applications that you may consider. For us, I wanted to show kind of some new experiences and how easy we've made it in the XAML framework as well as in the tools to help you accomplish these goals. So I'm going to start with a blank application. And we're going to create kind of a picture flipper application, so we'll call it picture flipper. Now the first thing I want to draw your attention to is how familiar the environment is if you're already a XAML developer. We have the same project system look and feel with the XAML files and the code behind files, as well as the same XAML editor from a text editing experience where you get great syntax highlighting, IntelliSense, and everything. And we also have a good design experience, which I'll show in a moment. But first, let's add some of that Windows 8 UI to our application. Now I mentioned I wanted to do a picture flipper, and I want to make sure that it's touch-friendly and mouse-friendly and does all the things that a Windows 8 application should expect for that experience. So we've added a new control for you to use, which we call a flip view. And a flip view can have any type of content in it, and you can use hand gestures to swipe back and forth to navigate in between. Now we're just going to use an image. We're just going to show an image, and we're going to bind certain types of data to that. So we have our image data here, and we're going to bind it to this thing called image bitmap. But first we have to build that data structure. So let's go in our code behind file, and I'm just going to create that image data class, which is a simple representation of some image information here. And let's go ahead and resolve some of these references. And now we have our image data class. So the first thing we have to do is actually start populating that flip view. Now we do that by making sure that we have a collection that we can bind to. Now I'm going to use an observable collection because it allows me to add data afterwards, after the binding exists. So I'm just going to create this observable collection called pictures, and again resolve that reference. And then when our application is created, or when our initial view is created, I'm going to initialize that to a new instance. Now the second thing I want to do is bind my flip view to this collection of images, which currently is blank. So we don't want to do anything with the UI until the page is loaded, so we're going to do this in the loaded event handler here. And now I have that flip view, which we had named picture viewer, and I'm going to set the item source to be that list of pictures. Now if we were to run this application now, absolutely nothing would show because we haven't loaded any pictures. So let's go ahead and add a command for someone to add pictures. Now commanding in Windows 8 applications, again, has the specific design aesthetic we'd love for you to achieve. And we've added things to the XAML framework to make that easier for you to accomplish. One of those things is called an app bar. And an app bar can be on the top or bottom of your screen, and it responds to touch events and gesture events on the edge by swiping from the bottom or swiping from the top, or as well on the mouse click by clicking your right mouse button. So in our page element, we can add a bottom app bar. So for our example, we'll use a bottom app bar. And then you can see that we have this app bar control, which is built in, handle all the touch gestures for you. You just have to put the commands within that. And so we're going to add a button so that we can add a picture, and we'll call it Add Picture. Now, in the Windows 8 design aesthetic, the app bar button has a certain look and feel that we would like you to accomplish. So let's switch over to Design View so that we can get a good view of what this button looks like today. Now, if we were to zoom in, and you can see that we have this good design experience for Blend as well, so that we can get a visual representation of our XAML. So we want to change this to be able to be the correct button. Now, it looks like a normal button here, so how do we get the best Windows 8 design style? Well, if you look in your Visual Studio template, no matter which template you've chosen, as long as it's one of the included ones, you'll see this file called Standard Styles. And we've incorporated a lot of different styles for you to achieve the Windows 8 look and feel, in addition to the built-in things we have in the framework. Specifically, we have a set of app bar button styles that we have available to you. Now, they're all commented out in case you don't need them. There's about 152 of them. But we specifically want to have one that looks like an add button. So I found my add app button style, and I'm just going to move that to a definition that's readable. Now if I go back in the design surface here, and I select the button, I can go and use Visual Studio's property pane I can look for the style property, and I can set the style to one of those definitions. And you can see here that Add App Bar Button Style is now available to me. I select that and look at the different design aesthetic that it creates for me. Now I can go back in here and actually change the content because I don't need that content anymore. So I'll remove the text that I have. And the definition of Add App Bar Button is given to me. It looks, it acts, it's accessible, everything that I would expect the Windows 8 UI look and feel to have for me. So let's actually put some behavior behind this button. So in the click event handler, we want to add pictures to our application, to our flip view. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of the Windows 8 APIs, the File Open Picker, and this allows us to pick pictures here. So we'll just create an instance of the picker, and what I'm doing here is I'm adding file filters because I want to say I only want to allow JPEGs and PNGs. And I want to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to give the user a suggested start location to use the pictures library. Obviously, we're adding pictures. Why not give them the best approach there? Now, the API allows me to use an async method. So you're probably going to hear more about the await and async function. And I'll be able to use this picker API in an async manner to give me a single file. So you can see I'm using the pick single file async API here. So we've got a red squiggly that tells us we need to have the async keyword. We add that, and that goes away. So these 5 lines of code here have allowed me to go ahead and pick a picture here. Now, what I want to do is then with that data, I want to add it to my collection. So I'm just going to create a new instance of that image data. I'm going to add it to our collection here. Let's go ahead and run this application. We haven't seen anything yet. Let's run this application. So when we run the application, Visual Studio launches our application in full screen. We don't have any UI yet because it's a full screen image flipper. But if we use the gesture to bring up the app bar, in my case, I'm going to use the right mouse click. You can see the app bar comes in, it dismisses. Again, by just using that control, we've given you all the behavior that you need to create that great Windows 8 experience. But let's add some pictures. So I'm going to click the Add button, and I'm in the File Picker, and I can choose from my local documents as well as any application that's registered to be a part of the picking experience. In this case, I'm going to pick pictures from my personal SkyDrive account. And so I'm going to go into some pictures here. I'll take a picture of my son, and I'm going to click Open. And you can see that in several lines of code, I was able to actually just add a picture directly from my SkyDrive account using the Windows 8 APIs. Now, we said we wanted a flip view experience. We only have one picture, so we're not getting one yet. Let's add another picture here. Again, I'm going to use the app bar, click the Add button. I'm going to choose a second picture. I'll choose a picture of myself. I'll click Open. And we'll see that now the flip view will get an adorner for us, indicating that there's additional pictures here, and we can have a flip view experience toggling back and forth. Now, if we had a touch machine, I could use swipe gestures in my hand to pan back and forth and get a great Windows 8 experience from a touch perspective. So that's just one way that you can add pictures, and in very few lines of code was able to integrate with SkyDrive or any other application and get this flip view experience. So this is a very quick demo on just a glimpse of the 2 things that we've added to make it easy to create Windows 8 applications. There's hundreds of more features and a lot that we've done in the XAML framework as well as in the tooling experience to give you a great developer experience to creating the best Windows 8 applications you can build. I look forward to seeing all the XAML applications you can build in the Windows Store, and I'm excited about the Visual Studio and the new tooling experiences. I hope you are as well, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.